Hello everybody, I've got something really fun lined up just now. This is going to be a fun video. Do you know the movie The Wicker-Man? And in this movie, basically a police officer goes to this pagan village on a deserted island. And there's all this pagan stuff going on. I've always wanted to find a church which has this pagan stuff in it. I've always wanted to find it, to find a church with the old religion, the one that Margaret Mead talked about. And I found it in 2013 in Chelmno. I've been to thousands of churches. This is in Chelmno. Kulm is the German name. This was a Teutonic Knights city in Germany. And this church just blew me away. I hope it's going to blow you away. I photographed extensively all the stuff that was inside it. Just unbelievable. This here is Chelmno or Kulm or whatever it's called. It's currently Chelmno because it's in Poland. Just a beautiful Cinderella-like town hall, the town square. Just really amazing old architecture. That's yours truly again. That's an old church in the Renaissance style. And it was really this church that's behind me, the Church of St. Mary the Assumption, which I'm going to get to. And this church is unbelievable. It is beyond belief what is in this church. Just unbelievable stuff. And look at those doors, Come inside. This is the Polish Renaissance style of architecture. This is what a cathedral looks like. And you walk inside and whoa, this thing is hanging from the ceiling. I'll show you a better picture. As soon as you walk in, this is sort of hanging here. And what's it doing there? It's like it's just almost over the entrance. And you think, the horned one, is this Cernunnos? Is this Herne the Hunter? Is this that god of the wild hunt who chases people around at night time on Sabbath nights if they're out in the woods alone in ancient Germanic mythology? Why is he welcoming you into the church? But the thing is, he's not really welcoming you into the church. You walk in the door here, and he's facing inside, so you sort of enter with him. It's so bizarre. And everywhere in this church, look, this is like corn. Everywhere there's floral designs and trees. It's like the whole thing is a fertility temple. It's more a fertility temple, which is amazing. I don't know if this church was bombed out in the war. I suppose it was and restored. It looks like all new bricks, but they've kept all the medieval stuff, which is just so fascinating. Behind this, on the back of that, there is something more conventional, Lamb of God, staff, I don't know what that is, but we're going to see some really unconventional stuff, including a representation of Jesus you ain't never seen before. Because it's just so wild, so strange. And whoa, you look at the wall and you see this thing here. This is a symbol of the Knights Templar, which was a red cross on a white background, also the cross of St. George, also the flag of England, I suppose, because the Templars hung around in England, persecuted in France. They escaped to England, then maybe to America if they wanted to, bury that Oak Island treasure. And so there's something going on here as well. I mean, this is supposed to be Teutonic Knights. What are the Templars doing here? They had a black cross. I mean, this is a bit different. It's certainly different. And you look at all this stuff; it's just unbelievable. It's all growth, but this is I haven't shown you the good stuff yet. The good stuff is unbelievable. We'll get to that. Look, as you go towards the altar, there's all this medieval stuff happening here, these are medieval paintings. Here, there's a newer painting has been painted over them to cover it up, to hide it, because we don't want the people to see the weird medieval stuff behind. Look at this. This is the Mandilion. I'm not sure if it's the same as the Shroud of Turin. Jesus' face was exposed in part of it, and the rest of it was kept inside a wooden box. And the angels are carrying that around. That's weird. I've never seen that before. Here is St. Christopher, a giant redhead carrying Jesus. And he's got this tree or club, and they've made it into a tree. It's really a club, because this is weird. And the legend is that St. Christopher didn't know who this traveller was. He found out later it was Jesus that he was carrying, so he became a saint. But the fact is, the legend is the same as Little John. Little John carries Robin Hood across the water, and Little John is a big guy, big giant with a staff. He's also the same as Dagda. Dagda is a fertility deity, so they've replaced an ancient fertility deity with St. Christopher. And Dagda, of course, is this guy, the Kern giant, Kern-horned, the horned giant. And Dagda has this huge club which can destroy 9 men if he just swings it, because it's got one for all these knobs, you see. And he can just, he's got this is just an ancient fertility god. And if you read about Dagda, it's so amazing. It says that he was essentially mighty one, lord of great knowledge, many skilled, horned man, creator, striker. Amazing. It says he was a fertility god as well. It's just unbelievable what's in this church. This church has preserved the old religion, and they've changed it to make it applicable to Christianity. And there's all this weird stuff on the ceiling, so I photographed it. Look, that there, this is at one of the apexes close to above the altar. That's the head of God. It can only be the head of God. This is the Templar god that they worshipped. The Templars were persecuted for worshipping the head of God. And the Vatican torturers, or whoever it was, the conquistadors, I suppose, I'm not sure who it was, but they were interrogating. Sorry, it wasn't the Vatican. It was actually the rival church in Avignon, which was persecuting the Templars, the rival pope, under the French king. And they said, "Oh, we worship this head of God and stuff." And they said, paganism, with witchcraft. Well, here you go. The Teutonic Knights did something similar. If this is a Teutonic church, it looks very German. The pews, weird, strange colours. So here we've got this bird, I guess St. Peter, and I'm going to try and explain everything. I guess St. Peter, the rooster, crowed 3 times, didn't he? And there's more stuff. So I zoomed into some of this stuff. This is weird. This whole altar, this whole organ, it's growing, it's alive. There's a huge spirit of fertility in this church. And here we have this weird thing on the ceiling. I guess it's the Green Man, really. And he's kind of, it's a bit like Edvard Munch's Scream. I'm not sure why he's screaming. That's a bit weird. I found that odd. And I just couldn't believe this church. I was just racing around, checking. Everything in here is pagan. It's unbelievable. I don't know what the hell that is. Another old man, not sure. Fairly conventional floral symbols. That was the Lamb of God. And here we have this weird thing. Like, it's just a bird with an egg. I mean, is this the phoenix? The phoenix is rebirth. And, of course, the egg is rebirth as well. And they've cut the egg open. Has it hatched from the egg? I don't know what's going on. This is fertility. This is a huge fertility temple. Of course, this is God with the Trinity. Again, birds nest on a tree. What's that doing in a church? There's more and more of this stuff. This is probably the kingdom of heaven on top of mountains. Putting it on top of mountains like that, it makes it similar to the Shambhala legend. Lamb of God, that's more conventional. This thing, who the hell knows what that is? That is strange. Okay, this is bizarre. What's going on here? It's a bird feeding its 3 chicks, but look where the nest is. It's on a tree on top of a mountain. This is a tree on World Mountain. This is Yggdrasil. This is the bird on Yggdrasil. And essentially it's so similar to ancient legend worldwide. This is from the Stone Age. If we look at the symbol of Mexico, it's the Aztec symbol. And what happened was the Aztecs had a legend that they could only make their city, which was Mexico City, on a place where they found a bird on a cactus eating a snake. And of course that cactus and the snake it's the world serpent guarding the world tree. It's the tree of Eden. So that means they could only build their city at the center of the world, which is where Yggdrasil was. So here we have Yggdrasil in a church. So they wanted to preserve the old legend. And there's more. I don't know what this is. This is probably in German. That looks very German there. Some sailors. We're getting to the good stuff. Look, there's another green man. This one's a weird one. Almost like a four-leaf clover for good luck. Bit closer. Some of these so fuzzy with the telephoto, so we'll just skip over those. Bird, dragon, thing, bird, flowers, head of God. The back of that horned thing as you walk in, because it's all about the horned deity. The horned one is in control of this church. It's unbelievable. It's like the Wicker-Man people built this. Look, it's just grapes. Grapes. Get drunk on the grapes. Wine. Fertility. This whole church is fertility. Nothing but fertility. Oh, there's a ceiling under the organ. Unbelievable. Don't know what's going on there. Usually in churches they show people in torment in hell. I don't know why. That's almost like a swastika, symbol of the Bon religion. Not sure what's going on there. Crab. So, look, it's astrology. There's astrology in this church. This is the most unbelievable church I've ever been in. Out of, maybe 1,000 churches I've had the privilege of visiting in Europe. Another type of triple swastika. Another bird. Just birds, leaves. The leaf is the center point. They're venerating the leaf. It's a spiral of fertility. The leaf turns brown. It grows again, turns brown. And here's a bird, I don't know, almost eating another bird or something, preying on another. Well, what's going on? It's almost like that bird eating the snake. And it gets weirder. It gets way weirder. This is like a huge entrance as you approach the altar in one of the side chapels or kaplitzas of this church, and it's just all fertility. And right above there is Jesus, and I'm looking up now, and here are two staffs. So he's the staff god, and look what is going on. Look what is going on. Look, he's been sort of pierced through the feet. The area where the nails went in is fostering new growth of corn and berries. Have you ever seen anything like this before in your whole life? And look, it's sort of almost growing out of his heart, and then it's pierced his hand and grown through the hand as well, and it's making new life. So Jesus here is the fertility god. And what they're actually doing is continuing the ancient tradition of this guy. This is Baldr. Baldr was beloved of all the gods. He was the shining one. He was the best of the gods. He was the goodest of the gods. This tricky guy is Loki. And Loki found out that this guy was basically invulnerable to everything. But he was pierced, just like the sword of Longinus, into Jesus. And what happened was Loki went around asking everyone if they'd sworn loyalty, and the only one who hadn't sworn loyalty to this god Baldr was the mistletoe. Mistletoe also sacred to the Druids, right? So he made a staff out of this, and all the gods had a hobby of throwing things at Baldr to see if, and they threw spears at him, arrows. They shot him with everything. Everything bounced off. And this guy went to Baldr's brother and said, "Hey, try this mistletoe, try it." And he said, "Sure." And he threw it at him, and it pierced him right through and killed him. And after that, the gods were in shock, because not only was Baldr dead, but this was the first sign of impending Ragnarok, which meant that Loki had to be banished to Earth under the ground like the fallen angel, and he was kept underground. He lived with the world serpent, and acid would drip on him all the time, triggering earthquakes. But of course, this guy is also a symbol of fertility for this reason. He is the king that dies every year. So it's just unbelievable. This is a church for fertility, and here near the altar, look, it's trees. It's not pillars, it's trees. Some more tree stuff and berries, and I just couldn't believe it when I saw this church. It's just, there's even an orb here. It's unbelievable. I don't know what's going on. Green orb. This thing, bright red. Look at those fish. Tomb. Anno Domini 1750. A beautiful box on the altar. It's very conventional Catholic stuff. Nothing odd here, nothing pagan. Except for a few things. Mary has her breast pierced with a sword. Seeing Jesus, which is a bit weird. Not sure what this is. Couple of whips, probably some Catholic stuff. And again, yeah, this is weird. Ever seen a picture like this? Mary's been pierced by this sword, really. And she's the crowned one, and he's also the crowned one. Just a bizarre church. It's just... This guy's carrying a seashell. It's a very German thing to do. They put those on buildings. Again, look at the organ. Look at this. This all this greenery growth. It's encouraged. This was a major fertility center in the prehistoric era, and they wanted to keep it like that. Even if they had to be Christian, they wanted to keep it. They wanted to keep the old ways. They didn't want to change it. They wanted to keep it. Here is essentially this is St. Sebastian, I think, and it's unbelievable what happened to him. Do you know what happened to him? He was shot with arrows for being a Christian. So it's the same theme, you see. And he was shot with arrows, look at that pillar there, for being Christian. And Domitian, the guy who built the Colosseum, later found out that this guy had healed up miraculously. And this guy went up to Domitian and started reprimanding him for his sins. So he sort of came back from the dead. And what did Domitian do? According to legend, Domitian used to pull the wings out of flies. Well, Domitian had this guy clubbed to death because he thought, oh, one of them got away. Here again you have St. Christopher with some kind of weird staff. Yeah, this is amazing. And look at this. Okay, this is one of the weird things. You've got these people, and they're actually impaled on the tree. They're not climbing the tree. They're impaled on the tree. It's so unusual, and it so reminds me of something in one of my earlier videos, the seventh door. And you have these people on... I compare this to the Jack and the Beanstalk legend. So you have these people, and I'm not sure if they're climbing the beanstalk or if they're impaled on the tree just like this. And who else was impaled on the tree? Odin was impaled on the tree. He was hanging on the tree, and that's how he got his knowledge. They're all hanging on the tree as well. They're getting knowledge. And I said this can only be some sort of biotech thing, because what's happening is, if you enter the doors, you get the knowledge. Now, this is probably not done by the people who are responsible for the ancient temple. If that was a kind of ancient laboratory, it's probably deep underground, and in fact there are ancient shafts and rooms underground underneath this temple. This probably just goes into some room or storeroom or something. But that's unbelievable to put in a church. And again, it looks like another representation of St. Christopher, and he's got this staff, or I don't know what's going on, where the roots are. It's just all trees and fertility. Look, something's gone. If only we knew what that was. These are medieval paintings. If only we knew what that was. And guess what? They're all weird. They're all weird paintings. Just unbelievable, just unbelievable. Just skipping through these quickly. Lamb of God, fairly conventional here. The tree motif again. And the outside of the church, and this church is crumbling into dust. There you go, the Assumption of St. Mary Parish Church, that's what it's called. If you want to look it up, got this weird stuff outside, dragon-like imagery. It's a very beautiful, large church. And believe it or not, as we were standing outside, a brick came crashing down. The place is crumbling into dust. The bricks are really badly made. But they're hundreds of years old. What do you expect? Guys, thank you so much. I hope you found that as interesting as I did. And don't forget to subscribe because it annoys the right people. Cheers.